All right, today we're talking about a piece of technology that just completely exploded onto the scene. And it points to a future that could change, well, everything about how we use our phones, our computers, our entire digital lives. So, this whole thing kicks off with this one absolutely massive idea. The guy who created this new tech, Peter Steinberger, basically said it could make 80% of the apps on your phone totally useless. Now, that's not just a small tweak, that's an extinction level event for the software world. And that's the wild ride we're going to break down right now. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get into what this app apocalypse even means. Then we'll meet the project that made it all feel so real, OpenClaw. We're going to look at its insane viral growth and the security nightmare that came right along with it, the shocking move by OpenAI, the community's big reaction, and finally, what all of this means for the AI future that is, believe me, heading our way fast. Okay, so what is this app apocalypse? Well, the big idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Why would you even need an app like MyFitnessPal when you have a personal AI that already knows you're at Waffle House, knows from your smart bed data that you slept terribly, and can see from your calendar that you're stressed? It has so much more context to make smart decisions for you than any one-off app ever could. And you can imagine what that does to other companies, right? If you have an agent that just gets things done, you're not going to open the Uber Eats app anymore. Nope. You'll just tell your agent, hey, order me some food. And this forces companies to become agent-friendly, basically, to open up a door, an API, so the agent can use their service directly. And if they don't, well, the agent might just go to their website and click all the buttons for you anyway. Resisting this? Yeah, probably not a great long-term strategy. Which brings us to the star of our show, OpenClaw. This is the project that took that whole 80% theory and, seemingly overnight, made it feel real. This wasn't just some abstract idea anymore. It was actual code you could download and run on your own machine. And let's be super clear here. We are not talking about a simple chatbot. OpenClaw is what we call agentic AI, and that's a massive leap. It's the difference between AI that says things and AI that actually does things. It can think through a problem, create a plan, use tools like Google, and just get the job done for you. And its journey? Oh, it was a total whirlwind. It started out as Claudebot. Then it got a trademark smackdown from Anthropic, the folks behind Claude, and it became Moltbot. Just 3 days later, it changed its name again to OpenClaw. This kind of rapid-fire identity crisis just shows you the chaotic, explosive energy that was swirling around this thing. But this is where the story gets really interesting and kind of scary, because all that incredible viral popularity came with an equally incredible amount of risk. The very things that made OpenClaw so amazing also made it terrifyingly dangerous. And when I say popular, I mean the numbers are just insane. We're talking over 145,000 stars on GitHub in a matter of months. This thing was fueled by being open source and the launch of Moltbook, which was a social network designed for AIs to talk to other AIs. I mean, it was a full-blown phenomenon. But while everyone was getting hyped, the cybersecurity experts, they were seeing something else entirely. They weren't just seeing a cool new toy. They saw what Palo Alto Networks dubbed the lethal trifecta of risk, a perfect storm of security holes. So here's the recipe for disaster. 1. The agent has access to all your private stuff, your emails, your calendar. 2. It can actually do things in the real world, like send those emails or book plane tickets. And 3, it's constantly looking at stuff from the internet, making it wide open to something called prompt injection attacks. You combine those 3 things, and you get what Cisco's security team called an absolute nightmare. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Even the people building the thing were sounding the alarm. This quote from one of the main developers, who goes by Shadow, says it all. This was not a tool for your average person to play around with. This was a loaded weapon. And then, right at the peak of all this hype and all this fear, the story takes a massive turn. Peter Steinberger, the guy who started this whole viral, risky, world-changing thing, announced he was joining the biggest name in AI, OpenAI. And listen to what OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, said. He calls him a genius and then drops this bomb. He expects this agent stuff to quickly become core to what they do. This wasn't some minor talent acquisition. This was OpenAI planting a flag and saying, yep, this is the future and we want to own it. So why'd he do it? Well, according to his own post, he's a builder at heart, not a CEO. He'd already played the startup game and won. This time, his goal was to get this tech into the hands of as many people as possible, as fast as humanly possible. And to do that, teaming up with OpenAI was a no-brainer. But you know who wasn't exactly popping the champagne? A huge part of the open source community that had helped build this thing up from nothing. In fact, the news was met with let's call it a healthy dose of skepticism, and even some outright panic. The big worry was that this amazing open project would get sucked into the corporate machine and just disappear. People on Reddit immediately started calling it closed claw. The fear was that OpenAI would eventually kill the open source spirit of the project to protect its own products and profits. So you've got these two totally different ways of looking at it. On one hand, you have Peter's vision. He promised OpenClaw would stay open and move into its own independent foundation, with OpenAI's support. But the community, on the other hand, was asking, what does support really mean? Can it truly be independent when its creator works for OpenAI and OpenAI is bankrolling the whole thing? Those are some really tough questions. Okay, so let's pull back for a second. This whole OpenClaw saga, it's more than just a story about one viral project. It's basically a sneak peek of a massive change that's coming for every company and, frankly, for every single one of us. The future of AI agents isn't a theory anymore. It's here. And this right here is why it all matters so much. According to a huge study by Cisco, a staggering 87% of organizations are just not ready for this. There is a massive canyon between how fast this tech is moving and our ability to actually use it right. Because here's the absolute key to understanding all of this, the most important takeaway. AI agents are not magic. They don't just create intelligence from nothing. They are amplifiers. They take whatever data you feed them and just turn the volume way up. If your data is a total mess, an AI agent just helps you make terrible mistakes faster and with more confidence than ever before. So what's the bottom line here? Well, first, most companies have tons of data, but that doesn't mean they're ready to be intelligent. There's a huge gap. Second, bad data is poison for AI. We know that 91% of models get dumber when they're fed older, messy info. So success isn't about having the coolest AI, it's about having the cleanest data. The goal, before anything else, has to be building one single reliable source of truth. And that really brings us to the final thought here. The story of OpenClaw proves that these incredibly powerful personal AI agents are no longer science fiction. They're real, and they are coming for all of us. So the real question isn't if you'll have one. The question is, when it gets here, is your data going to be ready for it?